Hey guys, it's me Chandra and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to provide commentary on a breastfeeding video made by YouTuber Kayla Harlow. Yes, I know they have been done a bajillion times, but I'm really excited to see what she has to say. Now, I'm not familiar with any of her other content. I didn't know about her until yesterday, but from the little bit that I've watched of this video, I know that she's made breastfeeding content in the past. She comes to this video from the perspective of just a breastfeeding mom, which is not minimizing that by any means, but I'm so excited to provide my input not only as a breastfeeding mom, but as a lactation professional. If you are looking to expand your YouTube breastfeeding family, I would highly suggest you check out her channel. I will link the full video down below. I'm gonna try to condense it because it's 27 minutes long and I know you guys don't want to be here forever, not only listening to her video, but watching me commentate. I'm going to try to make it as short as possible. So we may skip over some points. I'm probably gonna edit out stuff that I don't feel is necessary. So if you're really interested in watching the full video, like I said, check it out. Because it's gonna be a long video, now is the time to settle in, get settled in. Grab you a blanket, grab your hot beverage of choice. Without further ado, let's roll the intro and get right into the video. Come on.
So if you feel like you're cluster feeding or you feel that you're feeling like you're feeding all the time, that was a lot of F's. This is so TMI.
I love her lip color. It is so great on her.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is another video on breastfeeding. I just finished filming breastfeeding our story, and that video should be up on my channel already. It's kind of maybe a more boring video, but I feel like you should watch it if you haven't yet.
Not all breastfeeding stories are jam-packed with the drama and challenges, but it's always good to get exposed to other people's experiences. And so you may not think it's the most interesting video, but I'm sure that there's going to be something in that video that someone can use.
If you have and you're here for this one shouldn't be quite as boring. This one is going to be breastfeeding tips. So yeah, hopefully they're tips. I try to think of things that will actually help you guys. If you like these videos, if you want to see more videos like these, let me know down below. And it's very late, so let's just get right into it. Breastfeeding is, I said this at the end of my last video, it is a lot of work. All of these things that I say as a quick disclaimer are not meant to scare anyone away from breastfeeding. It is just me trying to be realistic.
Seems like whenever we talk about breastfeeding, we have to walk this fine line between being realistic about the challenges people might face, but also not being discouraging or dissuading to somebody who is trying to sort out how to make breastfeeding work. But it can be challenging whenever you're sharing your experiences. It's better to err on this side of being realistic. So if you've had a challenging experience, share that. If you have challenges that you overcame or you kind of struggled to overcome, there's value in that.
Things in life can be good, even though they're a lot of work, or even though they have bad things to them. I don't make these videos to scare anybody off or to inflict fear in you guys, because breastfeeding is good. Times, maybe for some people, it's just a breeze. Just like for some people, labor and delivery is a breeze, and being pregnant is a breeze. But I am not that person. And I feel like a lot of you might not be that person.
There's gonna be some people who don't have any challenges, and then there's gonna be people who have like a shit ton of challenges. And I think that there's a wide range of what your breastfeeding experience is gonna look like. And sometimes if you're planning the breastfeeding process and you're looking online for advice or, input, it can kind of be tilted towards the negative, so to speak. You'll see is people jumping online to talk about their experiences and the struggles that they face, so that people who are having those struggles have information. Unless you are talking to lots of people, it can seem as though the only experiences that you are seeing are negative. And I would hope that anybody who is pregnant or watching this before they even get pregnant can understand that just because there are negative stories on the internet, it does not necessarily mean that that's going to be your experience. But I will say there are plenty of wins if you look for them, and just don't get discouraged.
It is a little difficult sometimes. It's a learning process. It is something that takes time and commitment. Yeah, I'll stop rambling, but just that is my little disclaimer that breastfeeding is good. I'm not trying to inflict fear in you guys, and that breastfeeding is a lot of work, so hopefully these tips help you. All right, number one. If you are having bad issues with breastfeeding, stop watching this video and go and make an appointment with a lactation consultant or your doctor, maybe. I don't claim to be an expert in the area of breastfeeding. I've just breastfed my one baby for 14 months. If you're having issues, see a lactation consultant, get a second opinion on a latch, just get help that way.
I wanted to give my 2 cents. This is probably going to be rant number 1 of a bajillion rants this video. I apologize in advance. So first and foremost, I wanted to commend her for making it 14 months. 14 months is a long time. That's a lot of nursing, and it should be praised. So go, girl, go you. She mentions getting help and seeking help, and I could not agree more. Now, granted, I'm biased. As a lactation professional, I want to help everybody. Like, come to me, get my help. I would love it. You are not burdening me. There is no problem. But it seems like there are a lot of people out there who are confused as to if the struggles that they're going through is worth seeing a lactation professional or getting help in general. A lot of times people are just holed up in their houses and sucking it up. If they're having pain or discomfort or they have concerns, for some reason, and I get it, but for some reason, they feel the need to just kind of grit through it and fight through it and hope that just passage of time will resolve the issue. And I am here to tell you that the best thing that you could ever do, whether you are currently breastfeeding, are planning to breastfeeding, have problems, like legit problems, or just have questions or concerns, is if you can, see a lactation professional. I think you'd be surprised at how helpful it can be. She mentions getting seen by a healthcare provider, a doctor, anything like that. And I'm telling you, if you don't have a lactation professional in your community, definitely reach out to anybody who you feel like has adequate breastfeeding knowledge to help you overcome or get you through the next day until you can see somebody. My only 2 cents, and like I said, I am biased, is that generally speaking, pediatricians, OBGYNs, anybody who you would be seeing follow-up care in the early week, not all of them are going to have went out and gotten additional lactation and breastfeeding training. The level of breastfeeding knowledge is very dependent on how active and interested in breastfeeding they are. So pediatricians who strongly believe in breastfeeding are and have an interest in it are going to generally be more knowledgeable in breastfeeding because they're more likely to read up about it and really want to support families that they're seeing. Something that you can be sure of by involving a lactation professional in your overall healthcare team is that they are going to have this knowledge specific to breastfeeding. So definitely have as much support as possible. And like she mentioned, get help if you need it. And I would even encourage everybody to get help before you need it. It's easier to take a proactive approach to breastfeeding than it is to take a reactive. Once you are already in the thick of things, you might be having some issues, there might be some pain. That's harder to overcome, both obviously in managing the situation, but also more, with morale. It can drain your enthusiasm. So the quicker that you can get help and prevent issues from arising, the better off your breastfeeding relationship is going to be. And I digress.
If not, my biggest breastfeeding tip, I think, is to join a La Leche League group on Facebook and educate yourself with articles like this, with videos. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't just get stressed out by how much information can be out there, but it's very good to educate yourself before baby comes. So La Leche, like I've explained before, are on the very natural side of doing things. Even if you're not on that side, wherever you fall on the spectrum of parenting and breastfeeding breastfeeding and schedules and baby-led weaning and all of the topics that come with parenting. Wherever you stand on that spectrum, it doesn't matter. It's a great group to join and educate yourself on.
So yes, again, this is another way in which I'm biased. I'm a Leche League leader. I totally support the organization. And if you're in the United States and you don't have a local Leche League page, for example, you can search the Leche League. You can search Leche League USA and join that group. Either way, in addition to the support that you're going to have on Facebook, I would highly encourage you guys to seek out your local Leche League chapter. It is a phenomenal opportunity to connect with other parents who are going through the same things you're going through. The Leche League fosters peer-to-peer support, and so you can be sure of two things. You guys are going to be talking about breastfeeding, and you're probably going to get exposed to something that you didn't know. And two, it's a great opportunity to get in mom time, meet some friends, connect, and just refill your tank for, breastfeeding can be so isolating. It can be so draining. And in-person meetings are a great opportunity to refill your tank.
Since that was a boring one, let's go to number 2, if I can find it. Invest in good nursing bras. It is worth it. If you have the money to do it, there should be no other excuses. It's very, very hard. I'm a fairly frugal person. It's very, very hard to give in and spend good money on a bra that you're gonna wear for maybe 12 months. Just go onto my favorite website, I think is Motherhood Maternity. Find some comfortable nursing bras, because even though it's 12 months of your life, you are like immersed in breastfeeding. You're just
take the lead on this point, because I honestly didn't wear bras for like 2.5 years. Now, before getting pregnant, I wasn't very large chested. I was about a small B at the biggest. I was probably maybe even just a big A. After having her, I did explode. My boobs got so big that they to a nice D. The change is a lot. The cup size, I know some of you guys are going to be like, D, I wish I was a D. That's barely anything. I get it. But I walked around thinking I probably looked like this, but I was really looking like this. My nipples were everywhere. My boobs were hanging so low. And that was just how I lived life for 2.5 years. Finally, I figured it out. I got back into my senses, and I was like, Chandra, you need to get it together. And so I put a bra back on, and we've been at least wearing bras out in public for the last year. So I will let her take the lead on that. I at least tried to be prepared. I did get my bras from Motherhood Maternity. And in fact, if I think about it right now, I am currently wearing a nursing bra for me, now that we're practically done. And it convenient, at least.
Covers, in terms of investing in a nursing cover. My sister-in-law also told me this, and it helped a ton, I think. I was trying to figure out what kind of nursing cover I wanted before I had Beckham. She said, and it's true, that when you're first starting to breastfeed, you don't really know what you're doing, and you want to be able to see things. You want to be able to see how you're latching them on. It's just easier to see things. And so when you have, at least for me, when you have the tight scarf ones, the infinity scarf ones, or just the tight ones that can also be car seat covers, it's harder to see things. So you're just kind of pulling that back and latching on baby and it's just a lot of things going on. There's some at Target that are those poncho type of ones almost, where it's almost just a blanket and then it has this wire here that lets you see what you're doing. Personally, that doesn't work when they get older, and really nursing covers aren't the greatest things ever anyway. But I suggest getting both. Just either don't get them at all or get both of them, I guess. Because at first you want to be able to see what you're doing, but then eventually they kick everything off, and so you don't want a big poncho one, because then whoop.
Me personally, I never use a nursing cover. I know that there's a lot of people who feel more comfortable using it. I didn't take that approach. But I will say, regardless of whether you are going to be nursing with a cover or not, to spend the first couple weeks really getting familiarized with the breastfeeding process. It's a learning experience for you guys both. So having that time at home to get acclimated to the process and not have things everywhere is great, because breastfeeding can be hands and boobs and mouths everywhere. There's just a lot of stuff going on, like she mentions. And so I like to use a 2-shirt method. As you can see, you wear a overshirt and then you have an undershirt, and you can lift up the overshirt and pull down the undershirt to expose your breast. I believe that nursing covers usually bring more attention on nursing babies. But here, as you can see, you can easily cover up and nurse without having to show midriff or too much breast. You can stay within your comfortability level, and also to worry about packing it in your bag or accidentally forgetting it. That's the approach that I used, and I just wanted to show you guys that so you could be familiar.
Supply. You're gonna get mixed opinions on this. My best supply booster, even though I didn't struggle with it a whole ton, was blue Gatorade and oatmeal.
Okay, Kayla, you and I need to have a talk.
Guys, oatmeal bars, anything that had oats in it.
I knew it was coming. I just knew it because I see it all the time. Gatorade is the bane of my existence as a lactation professional. Blue Gatorade, pink drink, body armor drink, anything like that. And let's see what you gotta say.
Of Gatorade, I don't know if it's just a old wives' tale or if it's just in your head or placebo or whatever, but blue Gatorade seemed to do the trick. Really just a Gatorade, just that source of electrolytes would always help raise my supply. But it seemed like when I got the cool blue Gatorade, and people swear by this, women in the La Leche group swear
blue Gatorade, any Gatorade drinks. I've looked really hard at trying to figure out what about blue Gatorade or any Gatorades, for example, sugary snacks, things like that, that have been claimed to improve milk production. I've searched high and low to figure out what is in it that would cause that reaction, and I have yet to find any scientifically based reasoning. The best thing that I have about blue Gatorade in general is that it provides a source of electrolytes and hydration, and if you are walking around in a chronic state of dehydration, which most of us are, then it can provide a little boost to your body, and it provides an increase in blood sugar that you may have needed. Otherwise, there's nothing about blue Gatorade, Powerade, pink drink, body armor drinks, anything like that, that is going to provide a long-term solution to low milk supply issues, especially if they are legit low milk supply issues. Never gonna knock you for staying hydrated. That is your drink of choice to make sure that you keep your fluids up. Then more power to you. There are homemade electrolyte solutions that may be slightly better if you are very dehydrated. But overall, from a lactation professional point of view, I would never suggest blue Gatorade as a milk booster. Mostly my go-to approach, generally speaking, is to suggest more frequent and more complete milk removal. And if that's not working, then we need to have a more tailored approach to identifying what is the underlying cause of the low milk supply, and from there find what is going to have the best effect on your supply.
Whatever, if it doesn't work for you, I'm sorry, but just if you need a supply boost, blue Gatorade and oatmeal.
Oats are definitely a food group that I would encourage anybody who can tolerate it to add into their normal diet. It is a lactogenic food, which means it's going to promote your milk production. And it is just overall a really good source of iron and magnesium. Oats have a long history of having a medicinal effect. And so many cultures and many parts of the world have oats in various forms, like oat milk, oat straw, all of that stuff, a part of their daily diet. Now, if you don't like to eat oatmeal or want to add oats as a part of your normal diet, that way you can take a supplement like a pill, or you can have it in teas or tinctures. Either way, it alone may not boost your supply in the way that you're thinking if you're having low supply, but it is going to provide your body with optimal nutrition, so that your body can have the best chance possible of making as much milk as it needs to. I would highly encourage you guys, if you are struggling with low supply, to check out Making More Milk. It's a book dedicated to just explaining your milk supply, how it works, ways to boost it. It covers all of the different foods, supplements, and herbs that can help boost your supply when you're really struggling with supply. So that is definitely worth checking out.
You can hear swallows. So this sounds kind of weird to someone that's never breastfed. Just saying it for someone that if you're planning on breastfeeding and you like don't quite understand if you know that they're getting what they need to be getting or if they're getting milk, you can hear them swallow. You can hear what they're doing. You can hear clicks. You can see what they're doing. I didn't realize that ahead of time. It can help you determine whether they have a good latch or whether they are getting milk, is that you can hear them swallow.
So it can be kind of hard to visualize what that looks like. So I wanted to put a video up for you. Here's a baby drinking. As we can hear a little small. Okay, and this is a sound that babies make when they're swallowing. That's just one way to tell if baby's transferring. Another good way to see if baby is transferring is to watch their mouth movements. Generally speaking, when babies are trying to elicit letdown, when your body makes milk super accessible, you will see a change in their mouth movements. It will go from short, quick sucks when they were trying to elicit a letdown to deeper, longer suck with swallows associated with it. So if they're taking like a suck per second and it's kind of like a draw and then a swallow, a draw and then a swallow, then you can generally tell that baby is transferring. And then what will happen is once your letdown is over, babies will go back to small sucks and repeat the cycle. Small sucks to a letdown, longer sucks, and repeat until baby's full or your breast is drained, in which you would just offer the other side. Just wanted to show you guys that because it can be hard to visualize, and explaining it may not be good, may not have been helpful enough.
He didn't try a pacifier because of his bad latch at the beginning. You'll know about if you watched my last video, but he just did not have a latch. He had tongue ties and stuff. I think with my next baby, I'm not sure. I don't know that nipple confusion is really that real. Just, it's my opinion. You can look into it and determine your own opinion on it. But I don't know if it's really that crazy real.
I get it. It may be hard to believe in something, for example, or like know it's definitively true when your only experience with it is your personal experience or the experiences of your friends and family. And I will preface this by saying the majority of the time, babies can transfer, like can go between the breast and the bottle just fine. Okay, especially if there's no issues with breastfeeding and it's introduced later, there's usually no problem with going between back and forth. But I can reassure you, as somebody who works with babies that are struggling with breastfeeding, and if you ask any lactation professional who's been in the field for quite some time, we all can acknowledge that whether it's called nipple preference, whether it's called flow preference, or whatever you decide to name it, that there are babies who very much struggle with the introduction of bottles and pacifiers and then are expected to go back to the breast and figure out the two. Some babies who a little bit that may, be disorganized or things like that, they may struggle more. And that struggling may not be obvious to people who don't know what to look for. So I know that there's quite a few babies that struggle. I feel as though if people knew exactly what to look for, they may see their baby struggling a little bit more than they originally think. But this is not to knock pacifier use or anything like that. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in that it is very much real. Nipple confusion, or whatever you want to call it, is very much real. And the later that you can introduce nipples, if you're going to, or if you can avoid them completely, is always going to be better than if you introduce them sooner. The caveat to that is premature babies, which that's a subject for another day. Generally speaking, babies who have high sucking needs, where they constantly need a pacifier or things like that, where the demand is them and not the parent looking to stop crying or to kind of, for lack of a better word, shut them up. the babies that have high sucking needs generally have an underlying reason for that. And so it's not normal, for example, for a baby to constantly need a pacifier or constantly need suck stimulation outside of the breastfeeding experience. So if you're finding that your baby's constantly needing it, it's worth exploring. I've kept you guys long enough, and you know, we all got things that we got to do today. But I wanted to just wrap this up really quickly with my opinion. I was trying to figure out how I was going to make a barometer for if I felt like this was a good video or not, like had great advice. And I was like, would I send this to my pregnant friends if I didn't feel like explaining to them everything, right? Like, let's say I'm short on time and I just want to give them a resource. And the answer to this is yes. I feel like her advice and suggestions are well balanced and coming from a place of knowledge, which we can't say about everybody who's giving breastfeeding advice. I feel like she walks the balance of being realistic without being too negative, or also being like, there's no problems, breastfeeding is so great, like you don't have to worry about anything. And she talks about a wide variety of subjects that I think makes this video valuable to new parents. So I give this 5 out of 5 nip. It is a success in my book, and I would encourage you guys, if you're interested to see the last little points that she said or to watch the video in full, I will link her video down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me or more content like this, please subscribe, leave a comment down below. I love the interaction and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video.